Hello, and welcome to the Art of Lost and Found podcast. On this podcast, we focus on bridging the gap between those big creative ideas and actual tangible reality, the impact that those ideas have on the world. In today's episode, we're going to do things a little bit differently. I have made a spontaneous decision thanks to a coach that I've been working with named Emily Lane. The decision is for the next 21 days, right before this intense holiday season of Christmas and New Year's and all of the commercial pressures and forced reflections and challenging times that a lot of people experience. I decided to counter that with a commitment of doing 21 days of random acts of kindness, acts of generosity. The reason I decided to do this is because I started noticing a pattern in myself and in many of my clients that around the fall, winter seasons, energy and spirits and motivation tend to dip, while self-judgment, scarcity, fear all seem to grow. And I noticed that in myself just as much as I noticed that in my clients. I don't know if it's the pressure of the holidays or if it's just the natural closing of the year forces you to think more about your life and where you're at and whether or not you met your own expectations or other people's expectations. And last week, I had a moment where I got pretty low. Turns out I'm just a human being like the rest of us, and no matter how badass I am at coaching or design or helping other people translate their ideas into impact, I am still very much a human being dealing with my own shit, going through my own process of growing my own business. And in this time, I got really low. Upon further reflection, I think I was causing myself suffering because I didn't meet some of my own expectations around what this year would entail for me. And just like everybody else, there are moments of grieving, there's moments of disappointment, there's moments of being upset with yourself, of wishing that things were different. And with that process comes a lot of heavy energy and negative emotions. And as important as it is for us to have a high level of emotional intelligence and process our feelings and our experiences, it's also important not to dwell there. And I knew even when I was in it, I lost perspective. I could feel that there were things in my blind spot, but in a moment of scarcity, my vision just narrowed. I went into tunnel vision. I was not looking at all the factors. I was not looking at all the variables, and I brought myself down pretty low. So one of the things that I do when I am in a lower place is I call in reinforcements. I work with coaches. I work with strategists. I work with other people who have perspective that help me recalibrate and reorient to where I'm at. What season am I in my business? It can't just be rapid growth all the time. That would be exhausting. We are creatures of contrast. This is how we learn. So understanding what season I'm in, what variables I can play with, and what I can do within my own control to change my energetic state. And in one of the sessions that I booked with an incredible evolutionary intelligence coach named Emily Lane, I have an episode with her on this podcast that is absolutely worth listening to. She has an incredible story and an incredible outlook on life and how to navigate it. In a breakthrough session that I had with her, She helped me to set my intentions for these coming months. And I said that the energy that I wanted to call in was energy of abundance, of love, and of freedom. Abundance, meaning in my business, in my life, in my body, in my bank accounts, everything. Just this feeling of openness and expansiveness and possibility and enoughness, a level of satisfaction that comes with a sense of awe and awe of all of the things that could be possible. I wanted to call in more of an energy of love, more love for myself so I can stop beating myself up over things oftentimes that don't matter, and more love for other people. I think since really it jumped on my radar during the pandemic and navigating what that looked like globally, because, I live in Europe. I ended up getting stuck in America for 4 months when Europe closed their borders, and I was visiting my family there. And my brother lives in Asia, and I grew up in Asia. So I had a very global perspective on how the pandemic was unfolding. And like so many of us, it surfaced a lot of fears. And the way that I dealt with my fears was through righteous judgment of other people. I'll just say it. I was very, very like white knuckling my beliefs and what I felt was solid and science and, all of these things that are important for us to consider. But at the same time, it is not the only thing for us to consider. And I, again, tunnel vision. I narrowed my perspective, and that caused me suffering and pain. So I want to cultivate more of an energy of love and more of an energy of abundance. As I was sharing this with Emily, we brainstormed about different ways that I could cultivate that in a space that was entirely within my sphere of control. And what we came up with was a 21-day challenge for me to do random acts of kindness, random acts of love, of generosity, of cultivating that within myself, gifting that energy out to other people, and seeing and feeling and just swimming in the ripple effect that surely is going to bring. So my commitment is to show up for the next 21 days and do a random act of kindness. This could be leaving a love note for my partner to find. This could be creating some beautiful piece of artwork that I put out into the world without even putting my name on it. This could be donating blood, any number of things that demonstrate love and connection and enoughness and abundance. Because I know from my life experience and also from my work experience that what we create in the world starts with what we're cultivating inside ourselves. My intention with this challenge is to open the doors for the frequencies of love, of abundance, and of freedom to be able to fill that space. I know that I have to cultivate that within myself first, and then use that as connective tissue around the ecosystem that I'm ultimately trying to build. A symbiotic, mutually beneficial tide that lifts all boats. This is the energy that I need to step into in order to cultivate more of this in my life. The tagline for my business, the headline on my website, is Design Your Life and Work from the Inside Out. And if I'm not practicing what I preach, then I'm out of integrity with my work and I suffer because of it, and I'm not able to deliver the promise that I've made to my clients. And that is unacceptable for me. So knowing that I was feeling this kind of heavier, shadowier, swampier kind of energy, I knew that I needed to call in reinforcements. I needed people to help shift my perspective, to help shine a light on a lot of the darkness that I was seeing. And this challenge spontaneously emerged. I will be asking myself every day, who can I gift something meaningful to? Both thinking about that intentionally as I start my day, but also being really open to scanning the field and scanning the space of possibilities and being opportunistic with my kindness and acts of service or gratitude or generosity. I am equal parts woo and equal parts work. But I know that that intention, that vision, that like baseline energy level that you're operating from colors everything else. So while I don't believe in, pure manifestation, you just think it and imagine it and it will spontaneously appear, I do very much believe that that's where it starts. It starts with this intentionality. It starts with this vision. And I do believe visualization, meditation, writing, creative exercises, all of this helps to cultivate that energy that is the foundation of where the work then needs to happen. So I'm not just sitting and meditating on these frequencies. I'm sitting and meditating on these frequencies and then stepping out into the world where I can do tangible acts of love, of kindness, of generosity, of service in a way that other people can also experience. This is leading up to Christmas, leading up to New Year's, but actually has nothing to do with Christmas or New Year's. I'm not selling anything. I'm not trying to lead to any sort of outcome except being more in touch with these energies within myself. And if I'm able to fill my space with these energies, then it serves as a way to crowd out the feelings of scarcity, of aloneness, of struggle, of all of those dark, heavier shadow energies that limit our capacity for what we can actually do in the world. So I hope that you will consider joining me on this challenge. I will be doing it over on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Brooke Estin, BrookeEstin. And I really look forward to seeing you, to hearing your comments, to encouraging your participation in some version of cultivating the energies that you want to show in your life in a way that makes sense for you and your situation. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I look forward to seeing you over on Instagram. Happy holidays.